I smell the songbird, Michelle Birdsong in New York City. I'm going to share with you some findings that I have discovered. I said, so I'll read my notes. Jesus Christ, God's wife, now knows. Jesus Christ, God's wife, now knows how to love him. Remember in Jesus Christ Superstar, Mary Magdalene sang, I don't know how to love him. She knows how to love him now. God, Jesus Christ, is the best lover. Number one, he actually projected himself into Mary Magdalene's body, in her head, behind her pineal gland, to guide and protect her through hell. Number two, so far he's been there 70 years, acting as her genie. Your wish is my command, genie like Aladdin, like Will Smith. 24/7, 365 days a year. And so the musical that this is about is called Love Struck 3. Who are the three that love struck, and how did they show their love for her? Number one, the son put a penis in her body, known as a clitoris, so she could feel more pleasure than a man feels with his penis. Number two, Jesus, Babaji, projected himself as her mother to guide her to be a savior equal to Jesus Christ, so she would know how to love him. You follow? He bit his lip as her mother so she could find her own way out of her fog. That means he didn't Badinsky. He didn't put in his 2 cents worth all the time. He kept quiet a lot. He refrained from building her self-esteem. He destroyed her self-confidence, so she'd have to form her character starting from scratch so she could develop resilience, strength, and self-confidence. Number three, how did he love her? How Love Struck 3 showed their love. Number three, the son. The son transformed his son, Archangel Michael, to become the embodiment of pleasure provider and agreeable being, a woman. Archangel Michelle, song, Earth Angel by the Starlighters. With Jesus Christ as her personal spiritual guide, she found her way home, away from the 2nd century. No, away from the 21st century, back to before time began, superhuman effort it took in doing meditation and automatic writing and talk and share with Gabriel the angel and with Robin and with herself. So she went back to before time began to meet her father to get his opinion of her. Remember, her mother destroyed her self-confidence, so she wanted to see what her father thought of her. He told her she is true, she is beautiful. He told her to be fearless and strong. He told her he is proud of her. She is his star. Number 5, triumph, disaster, triumph. After a close relationship with Jesus Christ in her head for a year and a half, she heard his form was coming from India to the United States. Her first husband, Edwin Birdsong, gave her the money to buy a bus ticket to North Carolina to see him. This is him, Jesus Christ, God, Govinda Singh. She also expecting to see other satsangis, other of Jesus Christ's disciples. She herself was a Jesus Christ disciple. Not knowing he was Jesus Christ, she just knew he was God, probably. He never said who he was. He just felt this vibration and knew that he was great. Okay, so she was looking forward to seeing other satsangis in North Carolina that she's known for 45 years. They knew her husband, recording artist Edwin Birdsong, who had been Bach and Irving Berlin. These satsangis cheered her children during a talent show. Her 5-year-old Melanie played the violin. This is Melanie, grown up now. That's her daughter. So Melanie played the violin. Her 12-year-old, this is Robin, grown up now with her father, Stevie Wonder. Okay, and she played a piece by ear on the violin. And her teenage son sings. This is Birdsong, grown up now. He was Jimi Hendrix, Mozart, George Gershwin, etc. Okay, so they saw him. He was once Jimi Hendrix, the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music. Now seeing Birdsong impressed the satsangi audience, especially actress Jan Cox, her acting teacher. She was looking, so the Michelle Birdsong, Mary Magdalene, was looking forward to obtaining proof that she didn't know she was Mary Magdalene, by the way. She just knew she was Michelle Birdsong. So she was looking forward to obtaining proof that the physical form of the master loved her the same as the spiritual form of the master in her head. She wanted a hug and a kiss from him. She was also excited to see her friends and get hugs and concern from them, as she'd been homeless in the street and in homeless walk-in centers where you can sleep with your head on a table, and she'd been in homeless shelters these past years. And in walk-in centers, if you become permanent, they would bus you to churches and at least one temple where you could sleep in their basement, be fed, and shower. She was a lacto-vegetarian as a satsangi. No meat, no fish, no eggs, but she always found something to eat at the church bed, churches, and temple. Her satsangi friend Nancy let her ride with her to the New Jersey site where the bus took off for North Carolina. Nancy said with slight irritation in her voice, "I have the money for your bus ticket," as though she was a beggar. So the Michelle said, "That's not necessary. My ex-husband gave me the money for the bus ticket." Not said. He felt guilty for not sharing the record and publishing royalties. She'd helped them become established in the music business. And he didn't share what he earned. After the grueling 12-hour bus ride to North Carolina from New Jersey, they arrived in Fayetteville, North Carolina, right on time. They were ushered to a large room with food. After I ate, I followed the sign to the washing bathing room. There was a long line, but I didn't mind the inconvenience. I think of the inconvenience Jesus Christ went through flying all the way from India to let us see him. I was also grateful that I could freshen up, and there was a spigot and a bathroom sink with a hot and cold running water faucet. I washed my vital spots and left. I hope Will Smith becomes President of the United States in 2020. I was taken aback to the bathroom and wondered if I should have... Oh, wait a minute. So she went back, and when I hooked up with Nancy, she asked me if I had washed good. I was taken aback to the bathroom and wondered if I should have somehow washed better. I am an empath. I picked up the feelings of those close to me as my own. I picked up on Nancy's feelings, that as a former homeless person, I still was not perfectly clean. That was her belief. She didn't say it, but she acted it out. Nancy definitely had an attitude toward me. She didn't say anything more to me. The other Satsangas that I'd known close to 50 years didn't say a word to me either. Didn't look at me, and certainly didn't touch me, didn't shake my hand, didn't hug me, didn't say, "What happened to you, girl? What's going on for you?" None of that you would expect after you knew somebody 40 years. Number 6, Manira Smith, a Lebanese American whose husband was Tony Smith, who'd been Lou Reed's drummer, who now taught at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts, was seated near us. Manira, who had flown in, was sitting in the front, and Tony was sitting in the back, her husband. She came over to Nancy. At one point, Nancy was sitting beside me. She looked over my head. Manira looked over my head, past me, to say to Nancy, "Baba G, Jesus Christ, when the same God." Said those who came on the bus could move to the front. I looked to the front. Every seat seemed to be taken. I was afraid to leave my seat and go to the front when I didn't see any seats. Afraid that if I left my seat, I'd lose it. Then I'd have to move further back. I couldn't believe she was talking to me. That Babaji said for me to move to the front, because she didn't look at me. She was looking at Nancy. I didn't know who she was talking about. So the problem was, I didn't get that Babaji had sent me a personal message to move to the front, because Manira didn't deliver the message to me. She delivered it to Nancy. So I said to Nancy, "Do you think we should try to find a seat in the front?" Nancy, a Jew, acted as though she hadn't received a message from Jesus Christ either. She called the Sevadar, the volunteer, Linda Zatelli, over. She said to Linda, "Do you think we should try to move to the front?" Linda looked at Nancy blank, didn't say a word, and went back and sat down. Though I had been close sister Satsangis with Linda for almost 50 years, she didn't look at me. I didn't feel connected to anybody, not even to Nancy, who sat beside me. Not even to Babaji. He wasn't in the room. And his message, I realize now, his message was for me. But it wasn't delivered to me, so I didn't realize it was for me. I was perplexed. Am I clean enough? That was what was in my mind. I realize now I was being discriminated against by my brother and sister Sasangi because I looked poor. Most of my teeth were missing, and my clothes were shabby, and my hair was nappy. I hadn't spoken to the Satsangis I'd known for 45 years because they wouldn't even look at me. But when Emmy Award winner Fountain Jones, who I had given the information to about the path, in other words, I turned them on to the path, of the masters. He walked by, caught his eye, and told him I had a small package I'd like him to give Baba G. Not said Baba G, my boyfriend. Fountain had been working closely as Baba G's techie for years. Fountain's day job was head of technology at CBS News. He had been my son in a past life, unknown to him, unknown to me at that time. Baba G was unknown to Fountain Jr. and to me at that time, his brother. Fountain, which means he was my son in a past life. Fountain got up on his high horse and said, in answer to me asking him to give Baba G a package, as if he just met me, as if we had had no special relationship all these years. Fountain said, if I do it for you, I have to do it for everyone. I was shocked. What's he talking about? Then, maybe he realized how ridiculous he sounded, or maybe as a way for gracefully exiting my presence, he said, I'll send the guy over who can get the package to Baba G. I want to make sure it gets the careful handling it deserves. Total bullshit. It has a Scorpio rising, secret reactions, and he was hiding his shock at my appearance with a wooden demeanor. No guy showed up, and I saw Fountain sneaking down the aisle 2 rows over. Then, finally, Baba G came into the room. I was shocked at how far away our seats were. I had presumed we were closer, but there was a large screen his image was projected on where I could see him close up. I was overjoyed seeing him. A very strange thing happened then. He had a set of 3 eyes that sort of popped, that he sort of pulled over to him. The following Sunday, when a satsangi named Daffy was giving satsang, that means to talk, at Quinn's Sangat, which is the meeting hall, Daffy said there were some supernatural happenings going on in North Carolina. So after the eyes incident ended, Baba G said to a satsangi who had asked him a question, are you mad because I look better than you? I was struck with the realization that that was the answer to a question, an indirect answer to a question I'd had in my head for about 50 years. When we moved to the ghetto when I was 10, I saw some girls about my age with a ball and bat in a field near the house I newly lived in. My mother and stepfather were at work. My sister was occupied with a little girl she'd unofficially adopted. I was lonely and bored. I ran down the street up to the field where the little girls were. I said to the group of 3 girls, can I play? The excuse me, the little girl who was holding the bat, who looked like a boy, her hair was so short, she was thin with dark skin, said, no, you think you're better than us. I, Minnow, pronounced Minnow. So this is my name. Minnow, pronounced Minnow. Okay. I was struck dumb. What in the world was she talking about? I think I'm better than her. I didn't think I was better or worse than her. I have a non-discriminating Pisces moon in my horoscope. I had presumed we were all the same. Now that Baba G is speaking to me indirectly as he does when we're together in the physical, gave me the truth. The little girl, Wanda Faye Ellis, wouldn't let me play with them because she was mad that I looked better than her. She discriminated against me because of my skin color and hair. Black people who are racist project their racist behavior onto white people, lighter people. I had long, fine hair and very light skin. She was projecting what she thought. She thought I was better than her. That's where the thought came from, not from me. I must have known the truth unconsciously. That's why after I ran home crying at the rejection, I dried my tears, went to the barber shop, and had him cut my hair as short as Wanda Faye's. That was the day I lost my identity and became Wanda Faye, a nigger. And if thy right hand hair offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. Pluck it out, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell, into loneliness and boredom. That's from Matthew chapter 5, 29 verse, the King James Version of the Bible. Robin Birdsong was King James, is King James. So the next day the girls were back in the field. Wanda Faye Ellis, Mary Helen Ellis, and Georgia Mary Williams. I went up to the field and I stood there out of the way while they ignored me and they played softball. I did that for approximately 2 weeks. One day Mary Helen, called Ninny, said, let her play. They did. So I played softball with them that day. That summer, I had something to do, and I had friends, so-called friends, to do it with. Now, as I sit here writing this, tears are running down my cheek as I realize I've lost my respectability. Moving, book smart. It's a concept going from good to bad. Choosing to be bad. For many years to come, becoming a nigger and all the things niggers do. 77% of all black babies are born out of wedlock. Babies having babies. At age 16, I bore a son out of wedlock, Anthony Tony Craig Williams. St. John the Baptist he was, and he was Elijah in his past lives. Tony was raised by a married couple, George and Minnie Williams, in Chicago, Illinois. He works repairing large computers for major corporations, including Comcast. And I did talk and share with his son and with him on Blog Talk Radio. Babaji said I had no choice. I survived. I adapted to my environment. That's intelligent, huh? I loved my enemy, Wanda Faye. In 1975 in India, Jesus Christ said, love is losing your identity. Love is becoming the other person. You see, so that was love that I did when I became her. People don't know what love is. Only the mystics, only the saints in India know what love is. This was Charan Singh, Jesus Christ. Now he became him. He lost his identity and became him. Govinda Singh is now Jesus Christ. And that's what they all did, starting with Swami Ji. This is Swami Ji's wife. Melanie Lynn Spear is now his mother, because his name is Seth Ranzinger now. And Swami Ji became Babaji, lost his identity to Babaji. This was Jesus Christ. He lost his identity to Babaji. Babaji lost his identity to Sawan Singh, lost his identity to Jagat Singh. That's Jagat Singh, sing bird song. Sawan Singh is Michael John Spear, my husband of 37 years. Jagat Singh lost his identity to Charan Singh. Charan Singh lost his identity to Govinda Singh. And Govinda Singh is now Jesus Christ. See? That's how that works. Okay, the Dalai Lama is the 14th Dalai Lama. Govinda Singh is the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th, Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay, so love is becoming, losing your identity, love is becoming the other person. Matthew 25, 40th verse to 45, King James Version of the Bible will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you do for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Okay, so, let's see. I'm not going to be able to finish this video. The black niggers are the original Jews. They are a cursed group of people because they, along with Herod, Gary Bird, Judas, Stevie Wonder, Pontius Pilate, Luciano Lopalato, Michael Bublé's wife, killed Christ, killed the Messiah, Jesus Christ, in the first century. At that time, then answered all the people, and said unto his blood, his blood be on us and on our children. That's the curse, okay? Matthew, who is Dr. Mehmet Oz, chapter 27, verse 25, King James Version of the Bible. Did you get that? After they said kill Christ, they said his blood be on us and on our children. So they put a curse on themselves, though. Okay. And they're still cursed. They live in the worst condition in the world, poverty. They are due the land of Israel, however, now that the curse has been lifted, because Christ's wife, the very light girl who loved the nigger, had suffered living the life of a cursed nigger, and her daughter, St. Patrick, patron saint of the poor, Melanie Lynn Spear, also lived the life of a nigger. And she was explorer Christopher Columbus who found this place, America, that was destined by Jesus to become heaven on earth, as funded by Christ's wife, as Queen Isabella of Spain, the Michelle Birdsong, Minnow. Govinda Singh said, you paid for suffering, you paid in suffering, alongside black masses. You gifted them with the album What It Is, created with your nigger, immoral, bad husband, Edwin Birdsong. You married him instead of one of the light-skinned, middle-class gentlemen who would have better suited your sensibilities, because you wanted to have a dark-skinned daughter to show Wanda Faye that with a two-parent, a husband and wife household, and nurturing, any child, regardless of color, can become somebody in America. Definition of nurture, the verb, action word, care for, and encourage the growth of, development. Jared was nurtured by his parents in a close-knit family. Synonyms for nurture: bring up, care for, provide for, take care of, attend to, look after, rear, support, raise, foster, parent, mother, tend, feed, giving birth to children and nurturing them into adulthood. A homosexual relationship cannot give birth to children. They pay a woman to do it, but their union can't do it. Okay, I'm going to end this video and finish it on part 2. My Red Songbird, the Michelle Birdsong in New York City. So on.